we are back with our second video, and we are both excited to talk about the topics we brought to the table today. Yushao is bringing something that happened literally today, earlier in the day, and I'll be talking about something that's still pretty recent, but not like it happened today recent, basically. So today is November 1st of 2025, so I'll let Yushao get started and get into it.
On November 1st, 2025, during the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) summit in Gwangju, China and South Korea signed a bilateral currency swap maxed out around 70 trillion won or 400 billion yuan or $57 billion for 5 years, and additional MOUs covering service trade, agricultural exports, and etc. The reason why this is very important for us to know is because US dollars has been the dominant currency globally, and doesn't matter which country you come from, doesn't matter what you buy, you always pay with dollars. But here we're seeing that Korea is trying to explore a different way of trading,
Right.
besides with US dollars.
Right. I think that's kind of crazy. Like, this is the first time it's been done on this scale, and it's like a crazy amount of money that they're working with.
It is a lot of money, 50 some $billion.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, especially for a country like Korea. Korea itself is not very big, even though it's developed, but it's
Yeah.
not very big. I remember a couple years ago, China and Russia had a similar agreement. Basically, Russia agreed to take Chinese yuan as payment for Russian oil,
Mm,
which is another expansion for Chinese yuan on the global market.
I know. Did they do something else with India or Pakistan? Or, because I know they don't have a good relationship, but I couldn't remember if they had like a thing where they were using each other's currency.
China and Pakistan has always been very close.
Okay.
If you look at the recent Pakistan and India conflict, all Pakistani army used Chinese military weapons.
Right, I do remember seeing
Yeah,
that.
so they bought those from India. Does not like Pakistan. They have border conflicts, and they have religion and ethnicity. All those factors mixed in it. They don't like each other.
Right. Okay, but Pakistan and China are close.
Pakistan and China is close. At least that's what the Chinese government wants you to think. I think that Pakistan probably just want to use China to achieve their own goal,
Mm,
while China wants to have a foreign ally as well because there aren't many foreign allies of China.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think this is really interesting too that South Korea and China have now created this pact. But South Korea, kind of the US protects South Korea, but the US doesn't get along that well with China.
No, yeah. So I also see the other another news from modern diplomacy. It says South Korea is in a tight spot, economically intertwined with China, trade and investment, while security-wise tied with the U.S. This geopolitical balancing act was highlighted in Seoul's meeting, and that
Yeah.
just happened today.
Mm-hmm.
I think is very we're in a very interesting time now because if you're in the position of South Korea, it's hard to balance the two, right? Like if you want more protection from US, that means China will see you as a threat. Therefore, decrease the trade, then it hurts you economically. And in
Mm-hmm.
a democratic country, that's how you lose the election.
Right.
If you lean more towards China and have more trade opportunities, maybe more economic growth, but um, you're risking that U.S. sanction because
Right.
getting too close to China is not gonna look good in the eyes of U.S. government.
Yeah. Okay, so talking about South Korea and China, I want to ask a question. We know China and North Korea kind of support each other, right?
Whoa, you mean
I mean,
U.S. and Israel support each other? What did Israel ever give to U.S.?
okay, let me reword. China supports North Korea.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So how would that I'm like thinking about if they start to get their own trade set up between China and South Korea, and that goes well, and maybe South Korea starts to kind of lean
Oh,
more with China, now they've got both North and South Korea kind of like.
you just brought up a very, very good question. That's amazing. You don't even know what you just asked. So there is a professor, history professor. I can post the link in the video. Um, this professor basically he went to Russia history library and he bought records from Soviet Union time,
Okay.
talking about relationship documented from Soviet Union's perspective between China, Soviet Union, and North Korea, right? The three communist country.
Mm.
And the biggest concern of North Korean leaders through all generations, their biggest concern is that the rule will be delegitimized, right? Somehow.
Mm.
And one way that could happen is by China leaning more towards South Korea. They would hate the idea that China is
Mm.
having any trade with South Korea because they are the enemy.
Right.
So if you're trading with the enemy, how can you be my comrade?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there also is desperately needed the resources and the limited trade opportunities with China. So they can openly denounce China or do anything too aggressive, but the self insecurity you can
Right.
feel the self insecurity in their policy makings, and that's why you also see North Korea trying to have this strong tie with Russia as well nowadays. Not only they buy weapons from China, they buy from Russia because they're worried. Just they don't want to bet everything on just China.
Right.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. I know I was thinking about that when you were reading the article off, and I was like, how would that work?
It's very interesting to think about this because by trading with one country, it actually can mean that you are acting, you are disaligning yourself with another country's policy.
Right.
Yeah, it's drama. It's like high school drama. It's high school
It
drama.
kind of
Yeah,
does feel like that, doesn't it?
yeah,
But yeah, so, well, we got a little bit off topic with my question, but
yeah.
not really. It all connects. But, like, what does. Okay, so they've traded, China and South Korea are now doing this trade deal. Do you think it could start to be, not start, but it could be a step in the direction of taking the US dollar kind of back a little bit from being the global reserve currency? Or do you think we're far, far from that?
Are you asking if this agreement between China and South Korea can be potentially put Chinese currency in a more challenging position towards a U.S. dollar dominant
Yes.
financial system? I remember what my econ professor have said. It took two world wars and one great depression to make U.S. Reserve dollar of the world. Um, I think would take more than that to change the world reserve currency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think this is kind of like, is this technically like a soft power move?
Oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
definitely a soft power move. You can see from the beginning of Xi's political career. He started with One Belt, One Road initiative, which starts from China, connects to Middle East, and ends in Europe. He is trying to recreate this trade route that happened thousands years ago. When people used to trade by riding camels
Okay. And horses.
and horses, mostly camels, because you have to ride through Middle East.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Silk Road is about. Also, by doing that, not only he exerted soft power, there's so much you can talk about because along the way he lended money to these small countries to help them to build their highway system, build their railroad, and some of these countries can't pay them back. And now there's some governments are saying this is basically a loan shark situation.
Oh.
They know you weren't gonna be able to pay them back. Now you have to give them rights to your port for 99 years or something. So we'll see about that.
Okay. Wow.
We don't know yet. Okay, we don't know exactly what's going on. I have to look up a little bit more to say one way or another, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what's going on.
Okay. I'm also curious to see after, I mean, it's literally happened today, but kind of see how it's portrayed in American media, if they even really talk about it. Like this deal between China and South Korea, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if this is gonna be on the news or is gonna be the government shutdown and it's just both party blaming the other side.
Yeah, we'll see. Because I was thinking about that too. Like, if the media does pick it up, like, what's the narrative going to be on what it could mean? I don't know if narrative's the right word, but what's the tone of the article for what this deal between South Korea and China could mean for, you know, the
Oh,
US or other
yeah.
countries?
I
Or...
mean, I can imagine they would be sympathized towards China, so they can't be too happy about this article. I mean, this agreement, um, unless they're Chinese owned.
They're spies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Chinese spy owned media guys.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, do you have any other thoughts about it?
Any
that we
other
haven't
thoughts?
that we haven't discussed.
No.
Okay. Awesome. So then we can pivot into mine, which I feel like I've talked to you about this before, but I don't know how much into it I got. So I was just curious to get your view on back in September, at the end of September, this was blowing up on TikTok, but the Rapture. Like, so many people thought the Rapture was going to happen. And
It didn't happen?
it did. I mean, we're still here, so it didn't happen.
How do you know?
It was so crazy to see, because I was definitely watching too much TikTok back then. I can admit that. I was on it too often. That's how I get sucked in these little rabbit holes. But it got me thinking more about just being online and things like that. But I'll kind of explain just in case somebody didn't hear about it, or if you don't know that much. So basically, a pastor in South Africa got a vision from God, he said. And God said that the rapture was going to happen on the 23rd of September of this year. 23rd or 24th, he said. One of those days. So everybody on TikTok not everybody, evangelical Christians on TikTok were going absolutely, I had to censor myself there, absolutely crazy over this conspiracy theory. I don't even think it's a conspiracy theory. What would be another word? This psychosis.
Conspiracy theory would be, it's not real.
Right.
Yeah,
this
it's made
religious
up.
theory.
Yeah. Theory is not a theory. Your theory means like you have like solid evidence almost.
Right, or
Yeah.
something a little bit that could be.
A vision is not very solid.
No, it's not. No.
I mean, did it take a magic mushroom? Like, what?
No, it was from God directly. He beamed it straight in, and that's how he knew.
Okay.
But then, I see all these TikToks, and people are talking about what to do when the rapture comes. The rapture's coming in 3 days, guys. Like, I'm selling my car. I'm selling my personal belongings.
And what they gonna do with the money after they sell those?
Well, they're leaving it for the people that were left behind. Because I even saw some videos, because, they talk about the people left behind.
Who's
The
gonna
rapture.
be left behind?
Well, this is the rapture. All the true Christians get sucked up into the air. Into heaven. And everybody who doesn't believe in God, everybody who's not, been baptized or repented for their sins, they're all stuck on earth for like 100 years of like chaos, and the devil's going to take over the earth, and we'll be stuck down here.
For 100 years?
Well, and then Jesus will come back again. Second round 2 of it.
Oh, so it's like they come check on you every 100 years, and whoever start believing, they take you out with them.
Well, that's not a cycle of every 100 years, but I think it was like 100 years of like chaos or something after.
Okay. I mean, it's pretty chaotic right now.
Well, that's what leads into it too. Because,
wait. Oh, we're left behind. Oh, shit. Shit happened and we're left behind.
No, but what I'm saying is a lot of people think all of these, like, this chaos and division in the world is, like, leading up to Jesus coming back. Because, they think, oh, there's so much violence. There's so much, like, natural disasters happening, things like that. That is, Jesus telling us to get ready. That he's coming back. And he's gonna get us. So many people were like writing these like note cards of the rapture happened. I know I didn't disappear. Like, I'm in heaven. And they were laminating them and putting them in their pocket of their pants, because they think that when you get raptured, your clothes are gonna stay behind, but you're gonna get sucked up naked up into heaven.
Does your hair go with you?
Well, yeah. No, your hair gets left on the ground too. It's just a pile.
What about your...
Maybe if it's a toupee, it would get left behind.
What if you're like amputated? Like there's... Oh. Does only your soul get sucked up? Your body gets...
Your whole body. But your clothes will lay down because they're a worldly possession. And you don't need any worldly possessions.
And your body can just go through your clothes and just ascend. Like there'll be like some kind of disc in the air, and the beams just beams down, and we're all floating.
Well, people were saying that too. They were like, if you're left behind, don't believe the media, because they're gonna say that it was aliens that abducted us, but it wasn't. We're in heaven with Jesus.
But just considering how chaotic it is, I'm very confident it happened, and we're left behind with 100 years of suffering.
Well,
we're in the suffering stage.
We definitely have a devil in charge over here, I'll say, the Antichrist.
Whoa.
It all comes back. No, but people were going crazy. I even saw videos of, like, wives being like, my husband doesn't know it, but I'm getting everything ready for him. And it was like she had stockpiled a whole bunch of like canned goods and canned things, because she was like, he doesn't know it, but he's getting left behind. Like, I know that he's not going to heaven. It's going to be me. And things like that, because the point is, people really thought it was going to happen. For like a week leading up to September 23rd and 24th, they were like, the rapture's happening. I'm selling my car. If anybody wants my dog, then they can have my dog. Like, people were giving things away. And
the
like,
rapture preppers.
Rapture preppers, yes.
Yeah.
And then they were like, some thought it was just because this pastor had a vision from God. Others thought it was because the Feast of Trumpets in Israel was
just
going
any
on.
random pastor can have this vision and just cause a rapture to happen.
I think that's one of the points I'm going to get into
Okay.
on this. Like, because obviously, but let me not get too distracted. Let me try to work linearly. So, people were just going crazy. I saw on my TikTok for like a week leading up. And like, then the 23rd happened, and obviously the rapture didn't happen.
I told you we're left behind.
And then
We're left.
and then people were like, no, wait, he said or the 24th. Like, it's definitely the 24th of this month. So then that day came, and nothing happened. And then everybody was like, no, it's the end of the month. That's what it's got to be. Just by the end of the month. So they kept moving the goalposts back and back and back because they believed so fully that this was going to happen because they were locked in. Then the end of the month comes, nothing happens. And then that pastor that did the first, I had a vision from God, the rapture's coming, he goes, guys, don't worry.
That
The
calendar
rapture's still happening.
is behind.
It's
by
just
13
happening
days.
on the 6th of October because God doesn't know that we changed our calendars. We're on a different calendar now than back then. So our calendar now is 12 or 15 days ahead of what the original calendar was.
Right.
So it's fine. Like, it's going to
Right.
happen on October 6th.
God doesn't have an iPhone that has like a world clock, so know what time it is.
Well, it's also kind of funny too because God is omniscient.
Yeah, right.
He's supposed to know everything, every outcome, but he doesn't know that our calendar changed. You know?
No.
So then obviously we are on November 1st. Rapture still didn't happen. Sorry guys if you're seeing this, we are left behind. But it was just interesting to me to see all of this going on because I feel like we are very chronically online nowadays.
Everybody is, unless you're like extremely old. You're not just chronically online. We're trapped online. Everything we do needs to connect it to the internet. Watching YouTube videos. Doesn't matter if you're wasting time or you're learning from YouTube. You're online.
Right.
Or if you're chatting with your friends or you're doing whatever, it's mostly online.
Yeah, I know. I was like, so I feel like we're all online so much, and with how the progression of the internet over time, like, we have AI now that looks very real in certain instances for certain things. And obviously if you're like an older person who they already struggle to use their iPhone or use the internet, their computer, some of them, not all of them, but you show them like this AI image that is clearly to us looks AI and it looks like fake, to them they'll think it's real. So I feel like that's also kind of what was playing into it because people were making like AI videos of people getting sucked up into heaven.
Right. I
And
was
they
just gonna
see-
say people probably gonna believe that actually happened if they see stuff like that
Yeah.
because they don't know that can be created.
I know, and that's what I think. I think too, like, I'll preface this. I don't think there's anything wrong with religion inherently. I think I've told you this many times before. Like, if you want to believe in something like that, a higher power, or, in Buddhism, you get reincarnated by the good deeds that you do. Like, there's nothing inherently wrong, but it's when people start to kind of twist it and justify their own beliefs and try to say it's because they're Christian and that's why they believe this. That's where I feel like things happen. But I also feel like people take advantage of religious people more, like a lot, if that makes sense. Like the pastor.
that makes perfect sense because religion requires you to be absolutely devoted to it. Devoted, I mean like everything. You gotta give up everything.
Well,
That's basically the cost of entering any religion, and once you're in that state, the person that's supposed to be the messenger for God, which is your pastor or your, I guess your senior monk person that talks to you,
Right.
they have so much influence to your life. They can help you to do a lot of good things, or they can really take advantage of that vulnerability that you have developed because of your faith in the religion.
Yeah. And I think we see that. It's on topic. So my parents are very religious, I would say. They are. My mom is, at least.
Okay.
And I feel like, though, one of the things that she always tells me about that I always feel like it's kind of like the church taking advantage of religious people is when they say you have to give 20% of your income to tithing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it's like, you're already a tax exempt business, technically. And now you're asking people some people are really struggling, especially in this day and age. And you're telling them, like, they have to give this money. And sometimes my mom would come to me and be like, I felt so bad I could only give a couple of dollars this week because that's all I had. And I'm like, you don't have to give money to get into heaven if that's what you believe, or to be favored in God's eyes. It's kind of like the opposite.
I think there is a back and forth between how secular church can be and still having believers to, oh my god, this is way too secular, nobody is even believing us, we're gonna stop selling this get out of hell tickets. Remember
Right.
back then they were selling pardons essentially.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I do remember
Yeah.
that.
So that was a sign of going too far, that people stop believing because you're just basically printing money.
Yep.
And the pardon itself has lost its religious value. And I think, well, I told you I have a friend from high school. He he grew up upstate New York, next to Buffalo. Grew up on a farm, and he's a very nice guy, very religious. He told me that he has been donating 20% of his paycheck ever since he started to work to the church. I think that's good. If your church is actually using that money to help people in need, I think is very parasitic if your pastor actually took that 20% and bought another private jet.
Tyler's one of the greatest guys.
Which we
He
do
made
see
it.
in this day and
Oh
He
age.
yeah,
made that
all the
airplane
time,
so
everywhere.
cheap for
But
me, I couldn't help but
yeah,
buy
that's
it.
where obviously this rapture thing was one pastor, but it made me think about kind of the overarching thing. But what's also interesting to me is the rapture is very divisive in the Christian community. Because, Catholics aren't taught about the rapture at all. The modern day idea of what the rapture is. Because the modern day rapture idea was popularized by a guy in the 1830s who said, like, it's going to be a rapture and people, like, are going to get sucked up and things like that. Like, that's not actually from the Bible. The Bible
So
just talks about Jesus coming back. There's going to be, days of darkness and things like that. But Jesus will return to earth and the dead will rise and go with him.
it never talked about rapture in the Bible.
The word rapture.
It only talked about the return of Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. And what they believe, do they believe the rapture is the return of Jesus?
Well, the modern day, they think the rapture is like everybody gets sucked up to heaven to meet Jesus. But in the Bible, Jesus returns to earth and gathers people and then they go to heaven.
Oh, so rapture's interpretation of Jesus' return is actually different from biblical's Jesus' return.
Yes. A lot of people, like Christian theologists or just theologists in general, they're like, the rapture that is around today is unbiblical. Like it's just a dude
Wow.
said it, and now it's just like common now. Like it just it like just kept spreading, and now people think it's like what was in the Bible, but that's not actually the case.
Yeah, that isn't that interesting because I remember in the Bible it also talked about before Jesus returns there will be many false idols being worshipped. Basically people speaking for God. And isn't rapture a way of speaking for God?
It kind of is. Sorry, I was pulling up so I can give you um the biblical passages that kind of talk about what people would consider the rapture, I guess. And it's dude, these Bible like the book names are crazy. I will
Let me
just say
see.
that. First Thessalonians.
Yes, Thessalonians.
First Thessalonians 4:13-18, and it just details how the dead in Christ will rise first, followed by living believers who will be, quote, caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. There's that one.
Well, it's just like every other biblical verse. Are you gonna read this seriously? Like, are you gonna think this literally is what it means, or is it implying something else? You don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think I just was like, I have to talk to you about this because I didn't know how much you heard about it or anything like that. It was just crazy. And like I said, I feel like so many people kind of got caught up into it. Well, first of all, it was a lot of evangelical Christians, which we know are... what's the word I'm looking for?
Good folks. Very kind.
I think, yeah, that's what I was looking for. No, but they're definitely more like on the outskirts of Christianity, if that makes sense. If I'm saying that the right way. Like, even other Christians feel like, sometimes the evangelicals, they're a little bit kooky. They're a
Oh,
little
so
bit
like they're like emo Christians.
emo Christian. I wouldn't say emo Christians,
Emo
but
Christians.
they're definitely like, even other Christians are like, okay, evangelicals need to, calm down, take a step back.
Oh,
like,
so like
even
anarchy Christians.
they can't be anarchy Christians. But you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of these evangelical Christians getting caught up into it. And like I said, I feel like it's because, one, just being online all the time, you see so much information, sometimes it's hard to tell what's actually true and what's not. For people like us,
Absolutely.
we would never see like, oh, the rapture's coming, and we'd be like, whoa. Or if we saw like, we know, you got to do your own research and things, but some of these people don't do that. They already have this belief, and they're very easily swayed, especially with how things can get portrayed online. If you see like one person talking about something, you're like, okay, whatever. But when you start to see all these other people around you kind of get sucked up into it, you start to think, oh, well, this is really happening? Like, this could be happening. Maybe I should, be a part of it.
I guess if you become a believer of the Rapture and your TikTok's algorithm keep feeding you Rapture videos,
Well, that's
eventually you'll be like, oh my God, everybody knows it's happening. Everybody have seen knows about this. It must be happening.
Well, that's what's so funny to me, because but that's how the algorithm works. Like, I'm watching them because I'm just like, yo, these people are crazy. Yeah. And then you engage with that. You watch a little bit longer of it than you do another video. And now my whole feed was just like, the rapture's coming. And then the days after, all the videos were like, guys, that's totally fine. It didn't happen this time. Or we're just the ones left behind. Or this guy literally crying, like, he's like, I sold my car, like, how am I going to get to work now? How am I going to go anywhere? And I'm just like, he was that locked into it, that he sold his car because he thought he was not going to be here anymore. And it's just crazy how far some of these people really went with it.
Well, if you truly believe, I mean, okay, I think if you have a base that's big enough, right? You have a audience group that's big enough. You will have people eventually you will have a few that's just gonna believe.
And then before I forget, it's also crazy to me that these people thought this was happening. This pastor told us, because it literally says, like, in Christianity in the Bible, that nobody knows when the rapture is going to happen. Even God doesn't know, or even Jesus doesn't know when the rapture is going to happen. Like, it's not a set time, like, that it's going to happen.
Is there any prerequisite that before it happens, something has to be met?
Well, I remember they just said, like, you're going to start noticing all of these things. You're going to notice natural disasters and an uptick in this and this.
There's natural disaster in California every year. What do you mean?
Yeah. And it says, he doesn't ever really, like, talk about, let me see.
California is hell, guys.
Yes, okay, sorry, that took me a minute to get it up. But it says, there's like a couple different verses, but Matthew 24:36 states that no one knows the day or hour, only the Father.
They are our.
The day.
I mean, time is very relative. If we're
For an
gonna talk,
omniscient being.
if we're gonna talk about time, that's a very relative thing to talk about.
Yeah, but I'm just like, even in the Bible itself, it says, only the Father knows. And I don't know, some sects of Christianity think like Jesus and God are two different beings, or they're the same being. You know, like, at least the church I grew up.
The Trinity,
Well, yeah, like there's the Father,
like
the
the
Son,
Father,
the Holy
the Son,
Spirit.
the Holy Spirit.
But some people think God and Jesus are the same. It's one being that got portrayed differently in the Bible, whereas other people think they are literally two separate beings.
They can be separate because they're three in one.
Oh, that's right, the Christian song, Our God is Three in One.
Is God, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, even though they all can be portrayed individually, but they are all one, the God. They are the one.
Okay.
Is a partnership, is a LLC.
The God LLC. Yeah, but that was also something interesting because obviously, my parents are religious. I grew up in the church, but I never really paid attention or anything. But like even me, as somebody who doesn't really know, I was like, doesn't it say that like nobody knows when it's gonna happen? Like only God knows. So like how can a pastor who, even though he says it's a vision from God, but like how do these people believe it if they're true Christians, or they're people who truly believe that they would get sucked up?
I think that, well, there could be all kinds of reasons. What if you're in a unique situation, you just want a rapture to happen? You're like, get me out of here. And you're like, please happen. And then all of a sudden you see a pastor and you're like, wow, that's gotta be true. And I have been waiting all my life.
Miracle.
Yes, and it's finally happening. And you're telling all your friends and you're selling your car. Like I said, if the base is big, if the audience base is big enough, anything can happen.
True. But yeah, that's just something I wanted to talk to you about. It's not as impactful as global relations, but I thought it was something interesting to bring up and get your ideas on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that it for today?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I know we spend most of our time looking at each other, so we'll look at you guys as we say. We hope you enjoyed listening to our ramblings about this stuff, specifically my ramblings. And because Yuxia's a lot more put together than I am talking about these things, I feel like.
No, I'm just as messy.
But yeah, we'll keep saying it, but we're happy you guys are here and watching, and we hope to see you in the next one.
Yeah, let us know if there's any topics you're interested, if there's things you want to see.
Yeah.
See you next time.
See you.